So I recently completed FNAF Security Breach, and the endings I got were pretty interesting, but it's nothing compared to what I could have gotten if I had played more than just ending the stream after I actually finished the game. I got the worst ending, and then I got the Fazerquest ending. But if you were mad about the lack of lore in this game, stick around and let me show you why this game has some of the most interesting lore yet. Let's do it. The worst ending. The worst ending is actually the second one I got, with the Fazerquest ending being the first. But this ending is just if you leave the Pizzaplex at 6 AM through the front doors. However, this is labeled as the worst ending for very good reason, since after escaping, Gregory obviously runs away from the Pizzaplex, but he doesn't seem to go to any house. Instead, he finds a cardboard box in an alleyway and uses newspaper talking about the children who've gone missing at the Pizzaplex as a blanket, with a silhouette of what looks a lot like him in the bottom left corner, might I add. But it doesn't seem to matter though, since a red light comes on and we see Vanny's shadow appear in front of us. She finally ended up getting us. Now, this actually has a little bit to unpack, because firstly, if Gregory has a home, why didn't he run back there? I mean, like, yeah, it's later and he's been up for a while, but even if I was stuck in a pizzeria for 6 hours and almost died multiple times and was finally able to escape, I don't care if my house is on the other side of the planet, okay? I'm booking it as far as I possibly can. The fact that he hides in a box and then uses a newspaper as a blanket to sleep. Also, he uses that absolutely horribly, might I add. Like, bro, just turn it 90 degrees and you'd actually have a decent blanket. It would cover your body. And like, maybe Vanny wouldn't have found you that way. Like, I know that it was for readability in the ending, but whatever, okay? I don't care. Him hiding in a cardboard box, though, seems very similar to how I thought of homelessness as a child. Just like, grab a box and use it as your shelter. It's also how cartoons seem to depict it a lot. This leads me to believe that he has no home, only adding to the confusion and mystery of his character. Like, how the ever-loving hell does that work? Like, even if he is an orphan, he would have been taken to an orphanage. I don't know how many kids actually run away from orphanages, cause like, it's either that or this. So, I don't know, it makes who he is even more of a mystery, since we know nothing about him other than he probably went to the pizzeria to try and find the missing kids, since he's using it as a blanket. Next up, the good ending. The good ending is probably the least lore heavy of all the endings, which makes it a simple explanation. With a level 7 security pass, or I guess 7 level 1 passes, since we collect a new one every time and don't really get a better one, maybe. If you go to the loading dock, which is next to the trash compactor that you would have found if you went to the bottom of the map instead of through L chips when first entering the atrium to leave, there was a door that previously couldn't open. But this time, Gregory and Freddy will escape in a van, as long as you have level 7 security. Gregory will be driving the van, but Freddy will eventually run out of power. However, Gregory will actually solve this power issue by loading up Freddy with the charge from the car's battery using jumper cables. Now, how Gregory, a 6 or 10 or whatever year old kid, has any idea of how not only to connect the jumper cables properly to the battery, then connect them to Freddy is one thing, okay? Like, maybe he's like a kid who really likes cars. But this still adds more confusion, cause like, how does this little kid know so goddamn much? If he's around 6 like I've been thinking since the start of the game, cause like he can fit in strollers and is so short that he can't drive the go-karts on his own, there has to be something more going on here than him just being a gearhead. Like, how can he fit in a stroller but also reach the pedals for the frickin' van, dude? What? Next, Princess Quest. This is probably my favorite ending in the whole game because it's something that I was cluing into before I read anything about the other endings to the game, which I only did once I actually beat it because I wanted to make videos like this. Princess Quest ending has to be set up for a decent amount of time before you actually finish the game, since the player needs to locate and beat all 3 Princess Quest arcade machines. The third one is in Vanny's room above Phaser Blast. The second is where you find Music Man Spider, or DJ Music Man for those who aren't cool like I am. And the final is in Roxy's Raceway, in like the beauty salon thing, which I didn't actually check because I didn't think that that would be a thing. Now, you have to beat Fazerquest to be able to get this ending because you need to discover the room that has the third game in it. So you need to find Vanny's room, and this is what triggers the Fazerquest ending. And as I was thinking, you need to beat the first game, and then beat the second game, and then choose the Vanny ending and play the third one. This will result in the player actually saving Vanessa, and thus finding Vanny's mask on the floor. How did that save Vanessa, you ask? Like, all we did was beat arcade games? Well, it's actually fairly simple. Help Wanted. If you've seen any of the videos where I discuss the endings of Help Wanted and then how we complete the puzzle and like the final battle and we get locked behind the door, you'll know that I said that us doing that puzzle thing was just to distract us, so that William had more of an opportunity to shut us away in our own mind. And seemingly he does that. And Princess Quest actually proves me right, since at the end of Princess Quest 3 you open a giant door with a large keyhole surrounded by glitching cracks. And in Help Wanted, we get sealed behind a door with a large keyhole along with cracks and handprints. This with the obvious connection via Princess Quest to Help Wanted, because it was ported into the flat mobile port of the game because they couldn't actually include Glitchtrap due to size limitations because you know it's a phone game. So us opening that door is releasing the player from Help Wanted, who now is confirmed to be Vanessa, from the wall that Afton set up. Since after this door opens, we see her mask on the floor and even sit on a hill with Vanessa and Freddy's head in the final shot of that ending, which is similar to the final shot of the canon ending. This is truly the best ending, but it's unfortunately not the canon one. Next up, Fazerquest. While having this ending unlocked is required for the Princess Quest ending, that's because you need to access the Princess Quest minigame. But without playing the other two, you can't play the third. So this ending actually ends up killing Vanny. Since without the game, you have to make your way up to her room and hit the button that turns the animatronics against her. And since she has just had them disassemble Freddy, we as Gregory tell the animatronics to disassemble her, which results in the first killing to be committed by an actual kid in this game series, because they literally tear her to shreds. We don't see her corpse, which leads me to think that maybe it would have been too gory, or because it would have been revealed that Vanny was an animatronic, but I don't think that it would have been the latter. I think that it just would have been too gory, because like Freddy is absolutely destroyed when you see that. That would have been not pretty. But more on that other idea later, because there's another ending that indicates that there's more going on here than you realize. Get it? Because that's what Vanny says in the trailer. Next, the Springtrap Ending. The Springtrap Ending, or the canon ending, or true ending, whatever you want to call it, is unlocked, as I figured it was going to be, by finding the secret elevator and the secret section in Roxy's Raceway. It's down the stairs next to where you find the test driver head. Instead of actually getting the head, you just go to the left and go down the stairs. This requires your Freddy to have the Monty Claws, however, so this is potentially unlockable right after installing them, since that's when you're given the mission to go to Roxy's Raceway. You can also do this if you choose to stay after completing the game, however that will result in you having to deal with Monty's boss battle in one go without saving, since save states are disabled after you could have escaped, so it's less likely that that's gonna happen. After making your way into Burntrap's area though, Freddy will be taken over by Springtrap using code, or at least he starts to try to take over him, and it's up to Gregory to defeat him by using 3 monitors, and you gotta press the buttons to burn him. The player will also need to avoid the animatronic enemies that are coming for Gregory and use the doors to temporarily lock them out. When Springtrap is finally burned though, the Blob, which was the tentacle monster from the very first Freddy and Friends cartoon, will attack him, making sure that he doesn't get free. Freddy and Gregory will be shown escaping and sitting on a hill together, and I think my original theory about this was right. This tentacle monster was never revealed or never had anything else that had to do with them, but after this game, the final Fazbear Frights book would have originally released, so it would have been after this, but due to delays, the game came out after the final books were released that showed us what the tentacle monster would have been about, and it's how it's in fact Baby, or I guess Elizabeth Afton, who stopped her father but probably will be the one controlling Vanny now, since in the canon ending, Vanny doesn't actually die, and I think that that's worth noting. And finally, the Rooftop Ending. The Rooftop Ending is unlocked by exiting the Pizzaplex through the prize counter and clicking leave. This will prompt Freddy to burn the place to the ground, and for the two of you to escape onto the roof. I don't know what Freddy's original plan was, because like I don't think he would fit on the fire escape. Maybe he would just jump down and then you'd take the fire escape. But when Gregory gets to the roof, Vanny is seemingly there waiting for us, somehow. She grabs us, but Freddy, with his new eyes, actually sees Vanny now and jumps with her off of the roof, causing them both to fall. They both seemingly die, or I guess Vanny dies and Freddy is just inoperational, and we take off Vanny's mask, revealing Vanessa behind it. We look confused and the comic ends. However, before actually ending and showing us the final news clipping, another couple panels are shown, with Vanessa standing up on the rooftop looking down at what just happened. This is probably one of the most confusing endings, since it shows us that there are apparently 2 Vanessas, and while we seemingly knew about the whole like double life thing, we hadn't exactly seen the 2 characters in the same room again, so we thought that there was only one of them. And in the Princess Quest ending, we seemingly save Vanny, so what the hell is going on here? The simplest answer has us sounding like a middle school English teacher. future, with symbolism being always an option in this series. And with Scott, I think that this is probably the right place to talk symbolism, because it's FNAF. Unlike Shakespeare though, he didn't mean anything. Now this is probably not actually two Vanessas. It could just simply be Vanessa's soul looking down at her body. We know that souls are actually a thing in this universe thanks to FNAF 3's cutscenes where Purple Guy gets springtrapped. Those souls had physical forms that caused him to freak out. This could just be Vanessa regretting all the things she did as Vanny, even if it was unwilling. This could also just be more than that as well, where there could legitimately be two different Vanessas, with one either being a robot or from another universe, since we have the whole Fazbear fanverse initiative, and the multiple endings indicates that there are multiple universes already. Or they could just be twins, but I think it would be more cool if Vanny is a robot. Like, I hated this theory in the early days, mostly because people were treating it as fact. However, in the previously discussed canon or Springtrap ending, we did have to fight off Springtrap, but we have to do it as Gregory since, like I said, he takes control over Freddy. But why didn't he take control over us? This man, more than anyone, should know that you always gotta get rid of the kids, because they're always gonna be the ones to screw you. So like, why didn't he just like take control of Freddy and like keep us inside, or take control of both of us if he could? I mean, he had Roxy under his control in that same scene, right? So we know that he can control multiple things, and I think it's probably because no matter what, he can only possess robotic beings. Combine this seemingly obvious limit with the fact that Vanny doesn't start bleeding after hitting the ground, and you have some solid evidence, but I'm sure that it was just her soul looking back at what she did, fire surrounding her so that she actually makes sure she dies. Because you know, Remnant can only be killed by fire. That's all the time we have for today, friends. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been in Shower Main Con Monroe, and I'll see you in another video. Wait, what was your favorite ending? Let me know.